What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel, episode 157 of Talking with Beauties. Today, we're talking about NHL playoffs, but everything from the West Coast, first round of the West Coast, coming from you right now. So we're back, West Coast Conference. We're talking about everything first round. But before we talk about any of that, let's introduce the guest again. We got Ryan Cedar back, and don't know why his camera's not on, but George is back on for this one. There he is, the
I
man
didn't get my
himself.
charger. My
Now you're
fault.
good. The man himself, George, is back on the episode. If you guys haven't already, go check out the previous episode 156. We talked about the East. We gave our thoughts and feelings, who's going to win and in how many games for the first round of all the Eastern teams. So if you guys haven't checked that out, go check that one out right now, because this one's just about the West. And obviously we have a lot of opinions about the West. George, being a Chicago fan, he knows the West Coast. This guy above me, this guy's, you can tell, Avalanche fan. He knows everything about the West right now. I live on the West. I'm an Anaheim fan, so we have a lot of strong opinions about this. So let's get straight into it. We'll start off with the Winnipeg versus St. Louis series. This one starts on Saturday. Winnipeg being the President Trophy and first in the Central. St. Louis second in the wild card, the last team in for the West. Head-to-head matchups: Winnipeg 3-1-0, St. Louis 1-2-1. Obviously, getting the President's Trophy, you're first in the league with points. St. Louis, 14th in the league in points. Goals for 3.37, fourth in the league for Winnipeg, 3.01, 15 for St. Louis. Goals against, first in the league for Winnipeg, 2.33 on St. Louis's end, 2.84, 13th in the league. Power play, first in the league for Winnipeg, 29.4%. For St. Louis, 21.2%, 18th in the league. PK, pretty bad for both sides. 15th in the league, 79.3% for Winnipeg, 74.2 for St. Louis, actually 27th in the league. Doesn't look like George is ready to go first. So, Cedar, what are your thoughts on this series and who you got winning then?
I mean, they're always going to talk about the President's Trophy curse, but I think, um, but I just think the way that Hellebuck has been playing, like debatably, you're a Hart candidate, if not the winner. Um, I think with the way he's been playing, I don't see how the Jets struggle very much. Obviously, it's going to be hard to tell just because of how much my Avs rolled through them last year. Um, I think Ehlers.
This guy, dude, this guy,
I'm just
dude.
gonna say that. I
I'm
mean, I
just gonna
had
say
to.
real quick, if you guys haven't checked out the last one, he had to bring up the abs in another one of those in one of those
I
talks
have
too.
to.
So this
Have
guy,
to.
he's the new Eric Kelly. If you guys have been a long time fan of the episodes, when it comes to Angels, he's always got to put Angels in this. This guy always has to bring the abs back up.
But I think also, I don't know, Miles, if you have this note, but I've seen that Ehlers probably isn't gonna play. Um, I
Yeah,
think
I've
is a
heard
big
question marks
not
about it too.
not great for them. And then on the blue side, obviously they went on that big 12 game stand. They're 19-4-3 since the Four Nations, which is crazy. And I think a big thing for them, getting in Jim Montgomery from Boston is huge because he's proven to be just a great coach. Like his past few years, having that historic season with Boston. Um, I still like to think, I mean, it's tough to say the Jets in the playoffs because of how Hellebuck is going to perform. He did pretty solid in Four Nations, and the President's Trophy curse, but I think the Jets are a little too strong. I think I have the Jets in seven.
George, what are your thoughts, dude?
I got I got the Jets beating the Blues in 6 games here.
6 games. What do you think should be the
Mhm.
factor for them?
Um, First of all, like Sears said, the goaltending for Winnipeg is gonna be outstanding. So that's another factor. Um, who else? Kyle Connor, is he playing too?
You should. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Kyle Connor, him as well. So that's gonna be the two factors for me.
I don't think you know a lot about Winnipeg, huh?
No,
Yeah,
because the
I
fact
figured. Yeah.
we don't talk about that.
It's all right. I think it's a good pick regardless. I'm not going to say too much more. Winnipeg in seven for me as well, Cedar. I think St. Louis and them are going to go head to head all season long, or series long, excuse me. But you bring up that Four Nations. I think Bennington and Hellebuck having that Four Nation rivalry is going to come back in this series. I could see both teams relying on their goalies and their goalies stealing games coming down the line. So I could see a lot of low scoring games in this one. Bennington seems to stand on his head when the games matter. So expect him to win at least one, if not more games. Hellebuck, we don't know. Hellebuck in the playoffs have not been all that great, but him at the Four Nations was really good. This year, he's been outstanding. A 925 save percentage, a 2 goals against, 47 wins, which is his career best. Becomes the seventh goalie in history to win 45 plus games in one season. So Hellebuck's having a Vezina year. I think he's going to win it big time, but goaltending is going to be the big factor here. It are both going to show up. If they both do, what team is going to get just that extra goal in there? So I got Winnipeg in seven just because I think goalies are going to steal the show with both sides. And obviously, being a big fan of goalies, I'm very happy that goalies are going to be taking over this series. So I got Winnipeg in seven. So yeah, we all got Winnipeg here. But any final comments from you guys? Anything you guys want to add? All right, let's head to Cedars. Big series here. Dallas versus Colorado. That one starts on Saturday as well. Dallas second in the Central. Colorado finished third in the Central. Head-to-head matchups. Colorado actually has it 2-1-0. Dallas 1-1-1. Dallas was third in the league in points. Colorado seventh in the league. Goals for very even. 3.38 Dallas, 3.31 Colorado. Goals against 2.61 Dallas, 2.80 Colorado. Power play, not all that great for Dallas, 22.8%, 24.6% for Colorado. PK, second in the league is Dallas at 83.8%. Colorado 14th in the league, 79.7%. Obviously, let's head it to Cedar first. It's your team. What are your expectations and how early is Colorado going to win this in?
I mean, I just want to say I think this is probably unbiasedly one of the most anticipated first round matchups there's been in the last few years. I think the fact that one of the the fact that one of these teams is going to have to lose in the first round is terrible, and I think that's maybe something you look at toward the playoff format could maybe change a little bit, but I think the fact that one of these teams has to lose is terrible. And I mean, I wasn't too confident to be honest a few weeks ago, but just like a couple days ago's news about Robertson playing that last game, and now week to week, terrible blow for Dallas. Obviously Heiskanen's out too. I've been seeing he's ruled out for game one, and then just seeing like they're kind of like, hey, we'll see, but like whenever that happens, I feel like you kind of just I don't think it's gonna happen. I don't think Heiskanen or Robertson will be in, which is that's probably about the equivalent as the Avs losing. I'd say now like Natchez and Makar, like that's a terrible blow. Um, Also, like I don't know if you've seen, but the Stars have lost their last seven.
Yeah, they look bad right now. Their form is
They,
very bad, and they had their all-star lineup in those games too.
yeah, they're very cold right now. And I think most of those games were not against great teams either.
No.
I don't know how many guys they were, obviously they were playing Jason Robertson that last game. So that's something, but they lost that last game, Nashville by 4. So they're not looking great right now. I just want to say, I think for the Avs right now, obviously the big story is Gabe Landeskog. Absolutely unreal just to see the journey that he's been on with the documentaries, podcasts, and everything. I think whether he has much of a role in that series as far as how much he plays isn't, I don't think that's going to be a huge deal. I think the fact that the guys having him back in the locker room suited up is just going to get the guys a lot more juice for this matchup, and they're just going to want to go play for him. Um, and then another little tidbit I have is I think a little bit of a questionable move for a lot of people at the deadline was Charlie Coyle. Started off kind of slow, but he's aging a little bit now. He's on his decline a little bit. Had some good years in Boston, but his last 6 games he has 11 points. He's been filling in that third center slot, which I think Dallas has had Wyatt Johnston in right now, and I think Coyle's going to be a really good matchup for him, shutting him down. So I think Charlie Coyle is a good name to talk about there. A couple weeks ago, I might have had, I think, maybe Dallas, but right now I'm going to go with the Avs in 6.
Abs in 6. All right. There's your abs pick. We all knew it was going to happen. George, do you agree with this man?
Oh, yeah, I do. I agree. Avs in 6.
Do you actually?
Yes, because I'm looking back at Colorado, like, their fans as well. Their fans are gonna have an impact on this series as well, because those people can get really loud when it comes to playoff time. So they're gonna be behind them. Colorado got some key players as well. So Avs in 6.
Interesting. Cedar mentioned at the top. Yeah, I think this should be the Western Conference Finals. I think the winner of this going after the deadline, I thought the winner of this series would be the represent of the West. They both teams went out and bought some big names. Obviously, Mikko Rantanen was a big name that was added to Carolina. Some reason did not work out. Bunch of drama there. Seems to be working out okay in Dallas. I mean, his production levels are probably not the highest right now, but he's been jumping around. He's played for 3 different teams this season. You got to expect him to have some sort of drop off there. So I don't really blame him too much. There's a lot of drama going around with Rantanen. But regardless, that's a big add to Dallas's roster. Dallas also brings back Tyler Seguin off the IR. He did play in that last game, did record a point and that one. So that is a bright side there because you are losing Robertson, you are losing Heiskanen. So defensively, Dallas does not look all that great. But a player that we did not mention already, Matt Duchene. Dallas is killing it with Matt Duchene. He's a point per game, player. 82 points this year, 30 goals, 52 assists. You know Matt Duchene very well. Surprised you didn't mention him there. Plus 13 rating on the season. So I think Duchene could be a factor in this one as well. Rantanen, 88 points on the season. You know him very well. You didn't mention him at all, which I was very surprised there. But you already mentioned the big names for Colorado, Makar, McKinnon, Nashis, I think are all going to produce very much in this one. I didn't know too much about Charlie Coyle, so I'm happy to learn about that one there. And then having Landeskog back, most likely at least around the team, is just a huge add there. You're bringing back your captain. Everyone loves him. Everyone loves the storyline right now, and I would love to see him play at least one game, even if he's not doing much. At least get on the ice for one game. I think that'd be an awesome storyline to see him get back into the lineup there. But for me, I got Dallas in 7, and I think the only reason is goalies. I just Colorado ever since they pretty much lost Kemper, and you could say Kemper wasn't all that great. Goalie situation has not been all that reliable in my opinion for Colorado. Well, on Dallas's side, I think Jake Ottinger is one of the top 5, if not top 3 goalies in the league right now. I think it's him, Hellebuck, and then Vasilevsky. I think that could be my top 3 just off the top of my head right now. I'm thinking of goalies. And I think it was maybe 22 that Dallas played Calgary. I'll correct myself up above me if I'm wrong. But he stole the show in that first round. He won it in 7 games for Dallas. They moved on. They had nothing left to win in that second round. But that was all Jake Ottinger in that series. And I think if Dallas is going to make it past Colorado, it's going to have to be some Jake Ottinger show because Dallas's defense is not very big right now. And I think that's definitely going to be hurting them. So Jake Ottinger, if they're going to win games, it's going to be on his hand. And I think he's going to kill it this series. So I'm got Dallas in 7, but I could still see 7 games regardless. It's a coin flip series for me, but I'm just going on the hopeful here with Dallas because I really like Jake Ottinger.
I will say I have written down, I think if it goes 7, I would give it to the Stars. I don't know why. I just think that's a gut feeling. It'll be in Dallas. I don't see them losing that game, honestly. And I think that was one other thing I wanted to touch on too, and I'm glad that you did, was goaltending. Jake Ottinger has obviously proved to have been very good, especially in that Calgary series a few years ago. Um, but I think this will be Mackenzie Blackwood's first playoff appearance. Um, and he's
A little
been,
nerve wracking there, huh?
yeah, I think he's been better than what we were getting, obviously, and he's obviously like filling the need of what like we needed him to do. So I think it could go either way. Obviously, goalie first playoffs, he could either like embrace the moment and absolutely just steal games for his team, or he could just crack under pressure. I think that is going to be huge if Mackenzie Blackwood's able to step up. I frankly I think the Avs are just that much better if Mackenzie Blackwood is able to step up, and I have really liked Scott Wedgwood's play this year too. Like if Blackwood doesn't perform, Wedgwood is has a bit more years under his belt, has proved to make some great saves and had some great performances this season. So I think he's also ready if we need him. I think goaltending is going to be huge though, for sure.
Then question for you, what would what would it take for Mackenzie Blackwood to get yanked for Scott Red Wedgwood?
I mean, I do think I think like this year, I think it has felt more like a 1A, 1B option for us. Obviously they're starting Blackwood more. He proved that he can be like an elite goalie when he was in New Jersey. Um, so obviously, and he's younger, so you're going to give him the look, but I think he's definitely going to be on a bit of a tight leash. Um, I think if you see him giving up goals that he shouldn't in the first two in Dallas, maybe just at home, giving Wedgwood the look and see how it goes at home. But I think that Blackwood's going to be on a tight leash for sure. So,
All right. George, anything you want to add to this one before we move on? All right, we'll move on to Vegas and Minnesota. Vegas was first in the Pacific, Minnesota first in the wild card. Vegas took all three games in regulation of the head-to-head matchups between the two. Points-wise, Vegas was third in the league, Minnesota 13th. Goals for 3.33, sixth in the league for Vegas, a 2.74 for Minnesota. Goals against 2.61 for Vegas, which was third in the league, a 2.89 goals against was Minnesota. For power play, second best in the league, 29.1% was Vegas, 21.1% was Minnesota. And for the PK, not good for either side, 76.5% for Vegas, which was 24th, 72.3%, which was 30th in the league for Minnesota. So, George, with that being said, who got the series for you?
I haven't really watched Vegas, but looking at the standings, they did clinch they did get their division. They were the best team in there. Um, Minnesota haven't watched them much either, but I don't know. I'm just go with Vegas because I guess they're the higher seed and they should be able to take the series without much of a problem.
How many games are you thinking?
I'm not gonna give them a sweep. I'll give them five. Gentleman's sweep.
Little gentleman sweep there. All right. Cedar, what do you got?
um, I mean, I think agreeing with George, I think people definitely forget how good the Knights are. But I think I like I'm obviously very familiar with Minnesota. I think seeing Zeev Buium um, kind of getting called up and sign that contract, I think it's going to be interesting to see where he slots in, if he slots in. Because I think with him in, I think Minnesota has a very underrated decor if you look at it. You got guys who can shut down, you got guys that can score and can contribute. Um, but I think special teams is going to be huge, to be honest, because obviously neither team has a great kill. I think you said Minnesota had 30th in the league, Vegas with the second power play in the league. I think that's going to be huge because also Vegas was the least penalized team in the league this year.
Stole my
So
nugget. Damn it.
yeah.
You stole my
So
nugget.
I mean, I think Vegas is just going to thrive off of power play, and I think it's going to be too much. Going to be interesting to see how Gustafson plays, but I think it's just going to be too much for him, and I have the Knights in six.
That's in six. Yeah, you freaking stole my nugget. They're the only team to not be penalized more than 200 times in the regular season in NHL history. So yeah, I think that's definitely going to bring a
Wow.
factor into this one. Vegas's power play, you could pretty much throw anybody in there, and I think it's going to be successful with the roster that they have. Which is annoying because I loved Vegas in the beginning. The storylines, the seeing Marc-Andre Fleury on this team and thriving on that team, I really liked it a lot. Now it's getting to the point where I'm so annoyed and so tired of listening to Vegas and how successful they are, and then pretty much picking whoever they want and finding a way to get them on this roster. Absolutely can't stand those storylines anymore. But you still got to give him props. Jack Eichel's had a great season, 94 points, 77 games, 66 assists. I mean, He's been doing great
Holy.
offensively. In the Four Nations, I didn't realize how good of a defensive player he was. He was great defensively in that series. So I think knocking off like a guy like Kaprizov, if he's told he got to stay on Kaprizov, I think he's going to shut him down. So I think Eichel is, even though he's not really an X factor, I think he's going to be the reason why they're successful in this series. So I got a gentleman's sweep as well with you, George. I think Vegas in 5 games. Tomas Hertl, another player we didn't mention. I think
Hmm.
he's going to be another guy that not a lot of people are going to talk about, but he's going to put up a lot of points. He had 32 goals this year. Matt Boldy, he's been the only guy on the Minnesota lineup who's pretty much played all season long and consistently pretty good. 73 points, 82 games. Eriksson Ek and Kaprizov have not played all season long. They played about pretty much half a season for both guys and looked pretty good. Kaprizov did, but how much is that going to be lingering over them? They're healthy right now, but they haven't played a whole season. Gustafson's been pretty solid, but do we see Fleury in this matchup? Maybe if Gustafson isn't going to be able to shut him down in game 2 or game 3. I could see maybe Fleury getting one more playoff game under his belt for this one. But regardless, I think they maybe steal one game at home, game 3 or game 4. But I think Vegas wins this one in 5. I think there's going to be too much on their plate for Minnesota to try and deal with. So that's my pick. But we all got Vegas. Any final comments to mention here?
Um, I think just from a storyline, like hockey fan view, I think obviously I had the Knights in 6. That would mean that they clinched the series in Minnesota. But I think just as a hockey fan, I would like to see if the Knights won in 5 or 7 because obviously that means that Fleury is going to be done. And I think like the handshake line and just the ovation that he's going to get from fans in Vegas is just going to be unreal.
It's going to be
So if
emotional every
Minnesota
time.
if
Hmm.
Minnesota's going to go out, I would like it to be in Vegas, to be honest, just because like Fleury is probably a big reason as to why many people in Vegas fell in love with hockey because he was their first goaltender there. So I think that's just going to be awesome to see.
Yeah, he's definitely probably the most characteristic guy that's come into that franchise, and to see them part ways with them when they did just felt wrong. But yeah, I think you make a great point there with it being his most likely his last series. Ending it in Vegas would be a lot more heartwarming than ending it in Minnesota.
Yeah.
Hmm.
All right, let's head to the last series, Los Angeles versus Edmonton. This one starts on Monday, oddly enough. LA got second in the Pacific, Edmonton third in the Pacific. Head-to-head matchups, LA actually won this one 3-1-0. Edmonton 1-2-1. Points wise, LA sixth in the league, Edmonton 10th in the league. Goals for a 3 flat for LA, 3.20 for Edmonton. Goals against 2.44, which was second best in the league for LA. For Edmonton, a 2.88. Power play, 17.1% for LA, which was 28th in the league. For Edmonton, 24.6, which was only 10th in the league, which is odd to say only 10th, even though that's actually very good still. For the PK, 81.8% for LA, which was sixth best in the league. For Edmonton, 78.1%. So, George, Edmonton, LA, fourth straight year. Do you see a fourth straight year of Edmonton winning this one?
No, I have the Kings shutting them down this year.
Right. How many games you got?
Kings in, let's see, I don't know. I feel a good 6 game series here.
6 game series. Now, how much do you know Edmonton and LA? It's gonna it's gonna determine what the next question is for you.
I haven't watched either. All I know is that Edmonton, they love Connor McDavid and Draisaitl.
Okay.
And the Kings, they have they still have Kopitar, yes.
Yeah, they still got Kopitar. Yeah.
And they got what's his name? Quentin Byfield.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's pretty much all I know. But I want
All
to see
right.
the Kings beat the Oilers.
All right, we'll leave it there. Cedar, what are your thoughts, dude?
I mean, I think I'm gonna have just as much analysis about this one because they're practically my second team, just because I watched them a lot because my girlfriend's a fan of them. Um, I think where do I even start? I think obviously it's gonna be hard to say. I think the Kings have a lot of momentum going into this round compared to past years. I like it is McDavid and Draisaitl in the playoffs. They're honestly just completely different players when it comes to this time of year. Um, but I think looking back at past years, obviously the Kings have not been able to pull it out. But I think a big thing that you need to look at is who the Kings had in net the last 3 years. It was Phoenix Copley, David Riddick, Jonas Korpisalo, like not great names in the goaltending world, to be honest, and they didn't perform very well. This year, I don't know if I'm going to steal another nugget of yours, Miles, but
Nope, you're already stealing it right now, but continue on.
Darcy Kemper, 922, and then a 202 goals against. Frankly, if Hellbuck's not in the picture, I think Kemper should be a Vezina candidate. Um, and then in the season series, two of those wins for the Kings against the Oilers were shutouts. So I
Oh,
don't like
that I did not know.
two of them were shutouts over the 4 games, outscoring the Oilers 12-4. So the Kings have proven that they found their flaw the last few years in net with Darcy Kemper. Obviously, very familiar with him. He's proven with the right team in front of him that he can go win a Stanley Cup, and he's good enough to do that. Um, and then Stuart Skinner, obviously, has been kind of shaky at times. He can perform in playoffs. He's got a sub 900, so I don't totally see him doing great. Um, and then I think the big thing that people look at is the fact that the Kings don't really have any like star players. Like they don't have your McDavids, your McKinnons, your Matthews, but they do have, because I think their top point scorer was
It was 73 points with Adrian Kempe.
okay, yeah. So 73, but they also um they had I think they had 4 or 5 at least 20 goal scorers and then 2 guys that were just above 20. So they spread their goal scoring out throughout their lineup, and I think that's going to be too much for Edmonton to manage. So I think the Kings finally get over the hump this year, and I agree with George. I see them doing it in 6.
Yeah, so just go back to the top. This is the fourth straight year we're having Edmonton versus LA in the opening round of the playoffs. That ties for the most consecutive opening round meetings since the postseason expanded to 16 teams in 1980. So, I mean, obviously, I would not be surprised to see a fifth straight year the way these two teams have been playing consistently. You mentioned goalie situation. Darcy Kemper, yes, I think is second in Vezina. If Hellebuck didn't have the year he had, I think Kemper wins it by a landslide. But a 2.02 goals against coming from what LA's had since pretty much Quick's left, that's unreal. Unreal to talk about when it comes to the goalie situation there. Also, something you didn't mention though, a weird stat, but I really liked it. He's got a .963 save percentage when he's able to track the shot all the way. So no traffic, unblocked shots. So he doesn't get beat straight on either. So that's something that McDavid's going to have to try and figure out. He's going to have to move a lot. They're going to obviously need traffic in front of the net in order to try and beat Kemper because straight shots are not going to beat Kemper this year. Hasn't beat him all season long. So that's just something to note as well for the goalie situation. You mentioned the bad goalie situation in Edmonton. I'm not a fan of Skinner. I think he's overrated. I do not think that is the saving grace when it comes to Edmonton and goalie situation. I think they need to go out and shop for somebody else. Obviously, too late to do that. So I think Skinner is definitely going to be in one here. And you mentioned the depth scoring for LA is large. I mean, Kopitar is putting up 67 points, 21 goals this year, and he's still winning faceoffs. He's still playing on the PK, still playing on the power play. He does everything for that team, and he's still doing it at a pace that not a lot of people do it at his age. Fiala, another player, 35 goals this year. Byfield, George mentioned, 23 goals this year. So he's kind of brought it back up to his play style that everyone expected him when he was drafted. So offensively, I do not think Edmonton is going to lack it all, but I do not think they have the depth that Los Angeles has when it comes to their scoring and their threats. Also, LA gets home ice in this one. They're the best home team in the league, 31-6-4. The other teams right behind them. Second place was Winnipeg, third Carolina, fourth Tampa Bay, fifth Las Vegas. So just to kind of throw out there as well for other series as well. But LA, best in the league, 31-6-4. They're not going to lose at home. If they're going to lose at home, it's going to be a shocker. It's going to be a big win for Edmonton. Edmonton, though, sixth best league or in the league with a road record of 23-16-2. So they're not too shabby on the road as well. LA is one of the worst teams in the league when it comes to actually the worst playoff team on the road, 17, 19, and 5, 21st in the league. So the worst playoff team on the road. So that could be something big. If LA loses one at home, I don't know if LA is able to get one in Edmonton, especially with that playoff history in Edmonton. I mean, that crowd is ruckus there. McDavid, Draisaitl, we haven't mentioned them that much. Obviously, everybody knows them. They're not the normal Draisaitl McDavid that we've seen in the past years. McDavid only played 67 games this year. Did get 100 points like he normally does. Leon, 71 games, 106 points. Not surprised those two got triple digits, but it's a little bit different from those two. They don't seem like their normal selves, so that could be another factor as well. I agree with you guys. I think LA gets over the hump. I'm wearing the LA Kings reverse retro jersey today to represent LA area. I think they're going to do it in 6 as well. So obviously we didn't talk about these picks before we came on, so these are all raw reactions. So I'm not surprised we all got LA. I'm not just surprised that we all got them in 6 games, because that means we all think LA is going to at least win one game on the road here. I think it's going to be a hard thing to do, but I could see them squeaking it out with Kemper and net. But I don't know. I mean, it's going to be fun. I think this is probably my most anticipated series to watch, just because it's a 4th year, and I really am hoping LA finally gets over the hump here.
Totally. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Any final comments from this series from you guys?
I think, I don't know why I didn't touch on it. Obviously, you mentioned the home ice thing, because that's been the big story for the Kings all year. I was listening to Empty Netters podcast, and I think they said that they could see just straight up every home team winning each game. So therefore, Kings in 7, I could see that too.
Yeah.
I could see Kings in 6 or 7, but I, like Miles, like you said, I think if the Kings drop one at home, it's going to be a deep hole to dig out of. So
yeah. And someone we didn't mention, Matthias Ekholm. I don't know why we didn't mention him. He's going to be out for most likely the whole series for this one. So that's a big D-man loss for Edmonton. So that could be a factor there as well. But yeah, I agree with you. If they can't get one, if they lose one at home, it's going to be a tough battle to try and win one in Edmonton. So wouldn't be surprised though, it's seed in 7. But any final comments from any of the West Coast teams that we didn't mention that you guys want to throw out there?
To the West we go. St. Louis, 6 games. Colorado, 7 games. Whoever wins this series is going to the finals, by the way. I'm just going to go ahead and say that.
Yeah, that's what
totally
we said
agree.
that. We said
okay,
that.
cool.
100%.
Let's see. Vegas, 5 or 6 games. LA, Edmonton, 7 games.
Well, who?
I don't know who. I don't know yet. I'm not
LA.
I think I might have picked LA.
Go LA.
I think I might have picked LA. But
Yeah.
I think this is LA's year. 3rd time's a charm. That's that. And then Dallas, Colorado. I know Seeds is a big fucking Colorado fan. I hate to choose them. I never got the shit talking for that one game where they blew that 4-1 lead in 3rd period. But hey, we'll let them have it. But yeah, I honestly. Oh, in St. Louis, I don't think Winnipeg is. They're the most like underrated team in the league. I mean, they won the what do you call it? But I don't think they're there. Yeah, I don't know. But I do think St. Louis is going to win it. And that's that.
All right. We mentioned it last time. If you had to pick a game to go 4 games and 4 games only, I know what you guys are going to go with. But George, who's your sweep if you had to pick one?
The Vegas and Minnesota series. Vegas
Either?
in 4, if I had to.
Yeah, Vegas.
Yeah. Great minds think alike. We all got Vegas in 4 if we had to pick one. Hopefully that doesn't go that way. Hopefully we at least see 5 games. If Cedar said win it at home ice for Fleury at home ice. That would be pretty cool. But that wraps it up for this episode. 157 episodes in the books. We appreciate you guys listening to this one. If you guys haven't already, go check out our West Coast, our East Coast team predictions. Pretty much the same format as this one, just all talking about the first round of the East. If you guys haven't already, hit the like, subscribe, the bell icon so you guys are notified when more episodes drop, because I'm going to try to do second round with these guys if these guys can. If not, we'll get new guests on for new opinions for the second round. But we appreciate you guys listening to this far. If you guys have, you guys are listening on the weekend, hopefully you guys have an awesome Easter weekend. If not, enjoy some hockey for the rest of the week. We'll see you guys later.